The Legend of Charlie Fish by Josh Rountree. I first became aware of Josh Rountree when he submitted a story to the Roadkill anthology. Roadkill is an annual publication of Texas-based horror stories by Texas writers. E.R. Bills and I started the series in 2016. At a talk he gave in Dallas, Josh Rountree stated that his novels derived from his love of the Universal monster movies of the early 20th century. The Legend of Charlie Fish is something of an homage to the creature of the Black Lagoon. This novel is published by Tachyon Publications and seems to be aimed at the YA market. In other words, directed toward readers who are 12 to 18 years old. Of course, anyone of any age can read the book. The bulk of the story takes place in the days immediately preceding the Galveston hurricane of 1900. A man named Floyd rescues a couple of orphans, Nellie and Hank, from starvation in an isolated backwoods community. Nellie has inherited psychic abilities from her mother. Her parents were killed by fearful townsfolk who claimed they were witches. It's Nellie's psychic powers that convince her she and her brother Hank should go with the stranger to Galveston. As Floyd and the two orphans make their way to Galveston, they come across a couple of vicious men, Professor Finn and Kentucky Jim, who are tormenting a strange creature that seems to be half man, half fish. Nellie's younger brother Hank uses his exceptional talent with a handgun against the two villains. They help the poor creature escape, and they take him with them on their journey to the Texas coast. Nellie and the fish man they come to call Charlie form a strong psychic bond. Professor Finn and Kentucky Jim see Charlie Fish as their ticket to the big time. They imagine themselves getting rich from exhibiting this strange freak of nature. Even though they are bested by Floyd, Nellie, and Hank in their first encounter, they have no intention of giving up. They follow Floyd and the orphans to Galveston. Floyd takes the children to Mrs. Elder's boarding house. Very quickly, Mrs. Elder develops a maternal feeling for these poor displaced orphans. Floyd warns the local police about Finn and Kentucky Jim, but it seems he'll be pretty much on his own if he wants to protect Hank, Nellie, and Charlie Fish. Where there's one fish man, there must be others. Though he has been separated from his people for a long time, as the hurricane approaches the island, Charlie Fish can sense his kind calling out to him. Unhindered by the savage weather, Professor Finn and Kentucky Jim close in to steal the fishman and get revenge on the humans who bested them on the road in East Texas. This story is told in alternating chapters from Nellie's perspective, then from Floyd's point of view. It's a quick read and will be appreciated by most teenage readers with a taste for the bizarre. After his presentation at the Dallas Historical Society in Fair Park, I bought copies of The Legend of Charlie Fish and The Unkillable Frank Lightning, a second book by Josh Rountree, loosely inspired by the Universal Frankenstein monster. Josh signed both books for me. It turns out Josh's grandmother was a paranormal investigator. She collected evidence of the paranormal for decades, intending to put her findings in a book. Sadly, she died before the book became a reality. At Fair Park, I shot video of Josh telling the story of a strange paranormal photograph that came into his family's possession. I'm attaching that video to the end of this review. So keep watching if true tales of the paranormal are of interest to you. The Legend of Charlie Fish by Josh Rountree, a great weird adventure tale for young readers. Josh Rountree has a couple of interesting novels out on the market these days. The books are published by Tachyon Publications and are inspired by his love of universal monster movies like The Creature from the Black Lagoon and Frankenstein. I attended an event sponsored by the Dallas Historical Society at Fair Park. Josh shared a very strange true story concerning his grandmother and an old photograph.
So, when I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, my grandmother was a ghost researcher. This is in West Texas, and she was basically, people thought of her as the ghost lady, and they would bring her. They would bring their stories, their photographs, their cassettes with weird noises, whatever it was, and she would collect them. And she had a desire to one day put all of her stories in and write a book, and she passed away when I was a teenager, so she never got to. But I have a lot of her stuff still, and one of the most famous things that we always talked about growing up is the photograph that changes. And so basically, there's a photograph that was taken in Midland, Texas in the 70s, and it's two little kids in kind of a farmyard holding a chicken. And over time, other things started to appear in that photo. And someone brought this to my grandmother, and they made multiple copies. And over the years, they would keep changing, new things would keep adding, and all the different copies would change too. So they could send a copy to someone in some other place, and they would compare notes every so often, and every change they would each see. And so I actually have the original copy of that and some other copies, and I have seen things change over the years. I haven't seen anything lately, but it was always something when I was a kid. I couldn't see it, and so whenever I was old enough, I saw the photo, and it still kind of creeps me out.
What things did you see change in the photo?
I mean, the main thing is there's a man and a woman on a couch that appeared there. At one time, there was like a tricycle that appeared. It's just kind of random things that sort of pop into there, and at times it'll start to look almost like it's a double negative, and then it'll go away, and it's really strange.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.